Hi friends, Tammy Beard with Stampin' Savvy. Thanks so much for joining me today. We have got such a fun card to share. This was a birthday card that a friend of mine, Carol Ann Gowrie, sent me. Absolutely adorable. I shared this in my newsletter last week along with some other birthday cards that I had received and got so much response from you asking what she used and how to make it that I thought we will go ahead and share the details so that you can make this card at home. So we're going to actually change it up. This is her version of the birthday card, and she used a couple of really neat products. She used the Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper that is in our annual catalog. And then that cute little hedgehog comes from our holiday mini catalog that is on page 63 called Joyful Life. She used that one right there along with For You. And then you can see that she cut that out with the layering circles dies. So in her case, she's used 4 different patterns from the Designer Series paper. She's got 1, 2, 3, and then on the inside, she's got the 4th. Now, the beauty of the Designer Series paper is it's double-sided, so you've got lots of mix and match patterns to be able to use. Her card base is Night of Navy, and then her accent cardstock is Flirty Flamingo, and then kind of the other color featured here is Bumblebee. So if you have any of those colors, it would work. There's also other colors in the set, but really just a bright, fun card. So that's the one that she made. And then what we are going to make today is we're going to do a holiday version. We're going to do this card right here. I've got all my pieces already cut, so I'm going to walk you through how to make this. Because once you have the basic design, you can use any designer paper that you have, as well as, stamp sets. You really, are limitless in what you can do. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to have 2 different colors of coordinating cardstock. So in this case, we're going to do kind of a classic palette of pink and gray and white. So I'm using Blushing Bride with basic gray and then the basic white. And then I'm going to do something kind of different. I'm going to combine 2 different Designer Series papers, and I'm going to tell you why. This one is the Whimsy and Wonder Designer Series paper. This was the October kit that I offered. Absolutely just really, really gorgeous paper. It has that iridescent foil shine on it. So we're going to take these 2 patterns right here. And then the November kit that I offered was Peaceful Place. Very, very different. It's the grays and the whites. This turned out to be fabulous for not only holiday, but masculine and winter cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the patterns. There's the back side of that one. We're going to take one of the patterns from this one, which is the Snowflake. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but the Peaceful Place is got silver foil on it. Maybe you can kind of tell with some of these. There's silver foil accents, so they just really go nicely together. So it's these 3 that we're going to mix, and that just makes a really nice kind of a winterscape in that classic color palette. Okay, so I'm going to be using these 3 patterns, and then actually we're going to flip that over for the 4th pattern. And like I said, with the designer paper, you've got both sides. So that's going to be our 4 patterns and our color scheme. So you're going to take your primary color, and in this case, I'm going to be using the Blushing Bride for our card base. Bring in the trimmer. And on the long side, you're going to cut this at 5.5, which is right here on the arm. Go ahead and set half of that aside. And then you're going to turn this at 4.25. And we're going to score this. So you have, this is just your typical A2 card base. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put this back in on the short side now, we're at the 5.5 inch side. What I like to do is fold it in half. Sometimes you're off just a titch, and see I am. So this would be the one that I would want for the front. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this back in. I'm going to put this at the top. And we're going to set this at 1 1/4. And I'm going to use the guide to the right of the track here. I'm going to move up my cutting blade, and you're going to bring this all the way down until there's a line here on your cutting blade, till that line lines up with your score line, okay? And then we're going to lift that up, and we're going to move it over, and we're going to set it at 1 1/4 on this side. And I'm going to just drop it down and just make sure it hasn't moved. And again, we're right on that score line, and go ahead and cut. And that makes our 3 pieces. And that's all there is to it. How simple is that, right? Okay, let's set that off to the side. Okay, then we're going to come in with our bone folder, and we, are going to go ahead and we're going to give that a nice burnish. That gives you nice crisp lines. Okay, that is the basis of your card right there. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to deconstruct this. Okay, so I am using that Blushing Bride snowflake pattern, and that's going to go on those 2. And these 2 pieces are 1 1/8 inch wide by 4 1/8 inch long, both of them. So let's go ahead and we're going to put these on. And I will put the measurements, the link to the blog post that has all these measurements, I will put in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. I do encourage you, I will also put in the description the link to sign up for my email newsletter, because I put the information in the blog posts and the articles I write. But if you are an email subscriber, each week on Saturdays I send out weekly inspiration and card projects, all kinds of paper crafting projects, and I include exclusive PDF tutorials that you can then download, print, and keep for reference. So I really encourage you to subscribe. Okay, we've got those 2 pieces on. Okay, now we want our middle piece. So I have a piece of the basic gray. So this is my accent color. This is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8 is the cardstock. And then I have chosen that snowflake pattern from Peaceful Place. And this is 2 3/4 by 4 inches. And it's just going to go right here on that, centered on that center panel. And you know what? It might make it easier. Oops, I'm off, to do it this way, because it's a little hard to see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we've got that. And then now what we need to do is we need to do the spanner. So let me show you how this is going to work. So lay it out like that. And then we need a piece that spans to connect these 2. And that's what this one is for. So we're going back to the Whimsy and Wonder pattern right here. And this is going to go kind of centered just like that. And this piece was made out of Blushing Bride. So this one is 4 inches by 2.5. And then the Designer Series paper is 3 7/8 by 2 3/8. And easiest thing to do is just kind of eyeball it, and then just come in with your glue or your adhesive and it's just going to go right here. One of the things I like about using the glue is because it gives you, a little bit of working time to kind of move it around if you need to get it straight. Let's go ahead and close that up. I can't look straight over this because the camera is there, so I'm going to hope that that's I'm going to hope that's straight. Okay, and then that's going to go just like that, and then it will open like this. Okay, now we're going to decorate it. Okay, so what I have done is I have, where Carol Ann has used the circle layering dies, I have taken something similar in the encircled in beauty dies. So there's lots of different sizes, and then I'm also using this really fun sentiment here from the coordinating stamp set called Encircled in Warmth. There's actually another stamp set all around stamp set called Encircled in Friendship that coordinates with these dies as well. But we're going to use this one right here, and then for the center piece, I've done Let It Snow, and then for the inside, I have done this one right here. So I didn't want this to be too big, this piece right here, and I'll show you the difference. This is using this die right here. It's kind of a neat die because actually there's two dies here, in that it has both a cutout die and then it has the outline die. And let me show you what I mean by that. You can use the die to do this peekaboo effect like this, or you can combine the two and it will cut out like this. But I was afraid this might be a little bit too big. You certainly could use that, but I wanted the designer paper to kind of show off. So I've stepped it down and I'm using this one right here. And then I used the circling layer die to cut out the sentiment. So I stamped this in Versamark ink, sprinkled it with the silver embossing powder, and then used my heat tool to melt that. And then I cut it out with the circle layering dies. And then with our silver metallics pack, I use the silver foil and I use that die to cut this piece out right here, which I almost hate to cover because it's so pretty, but we're going to. So let's go ahead and put this centered right here. And I'm going to glue this one down because I'm going to pop up the sentiment. But before I do that, I have some Blushing Bride frayed ribbon. This is in our holiday mini catalog, and I just love, don't ever underestimate the power of color matched products. They really elevate and step up your project with very little cost and work. So I've got just, I don't know, this is probably 3-4 inches. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put this right across here, kind of just centered like that. And then I'm going to come in with this piece and it's going to get popped up just like that, except that I can't find my dimensionals. So I guess we'll go ahead and not pop it up. We're going to go ahead and just put that right there like that. And look what a difference just having that little, that little bit of the color just to step that up. Okay, now we're going to open this up. Now we have the center panel right here. So that's the fun thing, is it kind of reveals itself as the card as they open the card. And you'll notice that we have stepped down in size because you want this middle part to be smaller in size than the front part. And I have just a little piece of the silver foil behind here. Did the same thing. I stamped that in Versamark, same stamp set from the Encircled in Warmth. We're using this one right here. Stamped it in Versamark and then heat embossed it with that silver the silver embossing powder. And then I just put that little piece of foil behind it using a circle layering die. You certainly wouldn't have to do that, but it just kind of, again, it gives it a little more depth and color with that silver. You've got, you know, the silver foil accents from the snowflakes that match the silver embossing, that match the silver paper behind that. And then let's just make sure that's still covered. Yep, that looks good. Okay, let's do the inside. Okay, so we're going to be bringing in, this is the snowflake paper right here. I love that buffalo plaid, and I really wanted to use that. So we're going to flip over the other side. So this is just a titch smaller than the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece right here. There's just a little bit of reveal. I didn't want to cut it too small because instead of using a white panel here, I went ahead and I have die cut this with the contours dies. Is it color and contour dies? Scallop contours dies, that's what it is. I love this die. So I really wanted, you know, kind of have a nice reveal behind there. Now I didn't heat emboss the inside. You certainly could have. In this case, I went ahead and I used the matching basic gray ink. And then for the snowflakes right here, I used the color matched Blushing Bride. So again, you've got another element of color matching that is very simple to use. And you can see my boo-boo on the back. That's okay. Happens to us all, right? And then there we go. And then I would turn it over at this point and I would put my watermark stamp on the back, which I don't have handy, but we'll do that afterwards. So there we go. So now we have this opens, and you have a beautiful holiday version. Now, I forgot, I have a couple scraps that I had left over. So we could add that, you know, like down like that. Or we could add this one. I don't know. What do you think? Which one do you think? I think we'll use the Blushing Bride just to kind of tie that in. Again, you don't have to do this, but I had the scrap, so why not use it? And we'll just add it to the bottom, kind of centered across here like that. Now in Carol Ann's case, she did it looks like a 4 by 5 1/4 inch white panel, and then she just added her strips here on the side, which is really a great way to do it. That is very consistent with the design. So you could do it either way. Like I said, I just like to show you options so you've got some versatility. So whether you do a birthday version or you do this holiday version, it is such a simple but really fun fold design that you can use for any occasion with any colors and any designer paper that you have. All of the products that I used are available in my online store at stampinsavvy.com. I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter so that you can get the PDF tutorials for this. And until next time, thanks so much for watching. Give me your love. I appreciate thumbs up and shares. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.